Welcome to Awakening the podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christian Strang, and welcome to Magdalene Month. This is the month of Mary Magdalene's feast day, and so we are doing a special edition podcast episode to honor her feast day and bring you a beautiful message from one of her love letters in Love Letters for Mary Magdalene. But first, let me introduce myself. I am a mystic metaphysical psychologist and an Amazon best-selling author of now 14 books, with the release of our revised second edition of Radical Abundance in Radical Times, the Oracle. Thank you to all who said yes to this book and supported it in being a bestseller in the month of June. In 2008, I had a spiritual awakening that changed my life. I'm an OG in the spirituality and health space. I've been doing this work for 17 years. I've been facilitating energy medicine healing for 15 years, and I've been channeling for over 10 years. So, welcome to the podcast where I assist and support women and their families in being who they really are, being their higher self, otherwise known as their goddess self in form, as we're all led by the OG goddess, Mary Magdalene, and stepping in to create a life of radical abundance and exquisite love. That happens to be my superpower, and I am thrilled to be here with you today to celebrate Mary Magdalene and to talk a little bit more about the ongoing celebrations that we are having with her and for her, and so much goodness to come in this month of July 2025. This is one of the epoch years that we have been knowing was coming and would be super transformative for our consciousness. If you were with us on 2/22, you know that has already begun. We began to activate the exquisite love frequency, and then on June 29th, we activated the radical abundance frequency. These are two key frequencies that are needed to embody your higher self and be your higher self in form. It's one thing to know intellectually, and that's not hard to do these days with all of the information that's available to us, but it's another to embody your goddess self, your higher self in form. That's a totally different experience. And that is the path that we are on. So 2025 is this next level of embodiment in exquisite love and radical abundance. Now we have Goddess Mary Magdalene Day on July 22nd. And so we have this again expanded opportunity to more fully step into who we really are and live as the goddesses of the light that we truly are. Now, I want to tell you a little bit more about my experience at La Madeleine in Paris back in March when Mary Magdalene guided me to her epicenter in Paris that I didn't even know was there. And there are some interesting experiences that I had there, some of which I shared with you in an earlier video. If you do not see my Paris Mary Magdalene video, be sure to check that out or listen to that episode of the podcast. But there was something else there that really parlays nicely into her July 22nd feast day that I want to share. You know, the early church and in the book that is called the Bible, the way that Mary Magdalene is portrayed is really a betrayal and really a sacrilege. Is absolutely blasphemous the way that Mary Magdalene is portrayed in those books and in early Christianity as a prostitute, a sex worker who Yeshua, Jesus, the all-knowing, had to expel seven demons from. Like, there's just so much putting her down, so much betrayal of who she really is. And it's been particularly painful for myself and many Magdalenes on the earth to witness that. What was interesting when I was at La Madeleine in Paris, this is a Catholic church. And of course, the church, known as the Catholic Church, went in and took over all the holy sites and have done that in North America, but certainly in Europe and throughout France. So all of the churches that were for or were honoring Mary and honoring the Magdalene, they were, taken over. And then a lot of them were changed to say, oh no, it's honoring the Virgin Mother Mary. Like, a lot of distortion happened there. We're really lucky in the churches that are owning that they are a Magdalene church, like La Madeleine in Paris. But what I was really, really excited to see is that the church sort of has a mea culpa in the on one of her altars. They had this whole storyline about, well, basically, we thought she was a prostitute, but we got her mixed up with another Mary because Mary is a very common name for that time. So, our bad. Oops, she wasn't the prostitute who washed her hair or washed Jesus's feet with her hair. That was another Mary. This Mary is the saint. And so, because there was so much pushback, which is amazing what us Magdalens can do, because there was so much pushback and really starting to question this narrative that had been said about Mary Magdalene that she was a prostitute, she was a sex worker, she was, a sinful woman that was unclean, and Jesus had to make her clean is so preposterous on so many levels, but of course, sort of what you would expect from a patriarchal negative agenda. Because there was so much misinformation about Mary Magdalene and that narrative, because we didn't have all these channels of communication, that narrative was able to continue. The church eventually had to change their tune because there was so much pushback over time. So early on, all the mind control, like, oh yeah, Mary Magdalene, no, she's a sex worker, prostitute, blah, all that distortion. Then, it started like, well, okay, yes, she was unclean, and then he cast seven demons out of her, and then she was an apostle, like just more ridiculousness on ridiculousness. And you will find the true story about Yeshua and Mary in Love Letters to Mary Magdalene. And actually, she's having me read more about their story to you here shortly. So stay tuned. Um, so the church had told all this misinformation, then there's all this pushback. And then they eventually gave her a feast day. They said, actually, oops, we got it wrong. She's actually a saint. She is the apostle of the apostles. We do know he kissed her on the mouth. He loved her more than all the other disciples. What do you think was happening? So in her church, they actually outline this and say, like, oops, we got it wrong. We got it wrong. We got her confused with another Mary. That's the official story. They got her confused with another Mary, and this is actually a Holy Mary. This is Mary Magdalene is the Holy Mary. But still, in La Madeleine, I was upset to see that still in all the renditions of Mary and Yeshua, they still have Yeshua above her and her below him. There is still, even at her altar, you have Yeshua above her and her down below him. Now they're still giving her power. They're still showing her in more of her fullness, but there is still this narrative that she is below Yeshua, that she is below the masculine, when in truth they are walking equally together side by side. As much as he might have healed her, she healed him. He was not able to become his full self without her presence in his life, and vice versa. They opened each other, they unlocked each other, they helped heal each other. And that is the message that is still missing from the church's narrative. But I felt like we had a small win that they had the mea culpa of like, oh, we got that wrong, which I was impressed. I did not expect them to own that they got it wrong. So the reason we call, July Mary Magdalene month is because the church gave her a feast day and they sainted her. Oops, our bad. We called you a prostitute. You're actually like the equal to Yeshua. They won't fully like own that she is equal to Yeshua yet, but those days are coming. That time is coming because of this beautiful work that so many of us are doing to honor the Magdalene, to honor Mary Magdalene for who she was. I have her all around me. She's in front of me here. I have her and Yeshua in front of me, Yeshua here, her behind me. They surround me in my healing work. This is literally where I facilitate my healing sessions and do my channeling and all of my spiritual work. There's so many of us who are, gathering in her name and really honoring who she really is, which is, of course, allowing the wide flow in consciousness and the return of the feminine Christ, which I've spoken about in other episodes of the podcast. So this is a very exciting time. I always want to make sure that we spend July honoring her and that we gather in her name. Now, we're always gathering in her name, whether you gather with me one-on-one or in our VIP days or in our groups, but we are going to gather on July 22nd at 11:11 a.m. Pacific, and she will be bringing through a brand new teaching. If you remember, I believe it was the last year or 2023, she brought through that not only, okay, yes, Catholic Church, okay, she's a saint, but she's actually a goddess, and she is the goddess to Yeshua's God. And so she gave us the all the deets and the last year or two about their work for the new earth and how they are mother, father, God, goddess of the golden age of the new earth frequency. She has new revelations to reveal to us that will be coming through this July 22nd at 11:11 a.m. If you are in my goddess spiritual mentorship, you're the first to know about this. If you're in my sacred goddess swirl, you're the second to know about this. And if you're in my general email community, you will receive an email in the next week or so about this, inviting you in. She is going to be taking questions, so you can submit your own questions and I will channel an individual answer just for you, a personalized answer for you. We haven't done that in a couple of years, so I'm excited to open that up to you as well at this time. So we're going to be gathering in her name, celebrating her. She will be bringing through a new transmission. My work, my body of work really is linked to this understanding that it is in and through the body, that everything that we are doing here, the spiritual enlightenment, the self-actualization, it's all happening in and through the body. The way that we heal the body is in and through the body. The way we heal the mind is in and through the body. The way that we become our higher selves in form, become self-actualized is in and through the body. And so Mary is going to be, she's been giving me some previews of what's coming through here. We're going to be going deeper into this notion that it's in and through the body and taking it to a new place that I'm just ecstatic that we're going to, and I never could have imagined, as always. She also is going to give us a greater understanding about the Ankh and what that really is and what that symbolizes and how we can work with that frequency more fully. And then, of course, she'll be answering your personal questions as well if you submit them ahead of time. So you'll need to submit your questions by July 19th to be able to have them received. And I'm not sure if we'll be able to do all of them. It will be on a first come, first serve basis. So if you're not yet in my email swirl, make sure you get there. Go to sacred-spirituality.org and you can sign up to be part of my sacred goddess swirl so you can be one of the first to know. Or you can join my general email list by receiving one of our meditations and transmissions. Okay, so now that I've shared all of that with you, let's get into the reading from Love Letters from Mary Magdalene. And I asked her, what is the message that you most want to share during your holy month? Of course, it's Mary Magdalene month every month for those of us that are Magdalenes and on this path with her. However, what I wanted to know was like, what is the primary message at this time for those who are part of our email community, those who are in our podcast world? What is it that you most want to share in this divine time in this month of the Magdalene and part of your feast day? And it is so beautiful. We're coming right into the middle of a transmission, and the transmission is about her and Yeshua and their first meeting. And I'm going to try not to cry. I cried a lot when I was channeling this book and editing it, and I still cry when I read the transmission. So I'm going to do my best not to. Um, I want to invite you to just, if you can, close your eyes and just allow yourself to receive this and really allow yourself to visualize and really envision what Mary is giving to you here, this picture that she is painting for all of us. Okay, so this is the transmission titled Life Before Yeshua, but again, we're right towards the end of it, and she's describing her first meeting with Yeshua. They are at her sister Martha's house. I walked over to him, both of our eyes now filled with tears, and he stood up. I reached my hand out to him, and he took my hand into both of his. His warm hands touching my body sent a beam of light right through me. He squeezed them gently and then brought my hands to his lips, closing his eyes as he softly kissed them. He then looked up at me, his big brown eyes beaming into mine as he said, "Mary of Magdala, I knew one day you would come to me." I wanted to grin from ear to ear, hearing his beautiful words, but the profound gravity of our coming together would not allow for it. I was stunned and touched by his softness and by the light traveling through me and from his eyes into mine. All I could say in return was, "I knew it too." In full transparency, I knew it as soon as I saw him and not a moment before. We had a wonderful dinner that night filled with laughter and tears and overflowing joy. My sister Martha had watched our exchange from the corner of her kitchen and pulled me aside when I stepped away to confirm what she had seen. "This is your holy beloved, my darling. I know it is so." I nodded, the tears again returning, and she hugged me tightly. She had wanted this for me and wanted me to step into my destiny in this way. And she knew as I did that my life had now forever changed. "Thank you, Martha, for your love and for telling me to come by your house today," I smiled. She laughed. "Well, I had no idea our woodworking spiritual teacher in training would be your holy beloved, but I am ecstatic for this union, my dearest Mary. Please understand that we did not speak in what you call English at that time. And of course, I'm giving to you the easiest version of events so that you can wrap your intellectual mind around what transpired and feel with your whole sacred heart the divinity of what I share with you now. Yeshua and I were not ever not together from that moment forward. We quickly made arrangements so that I would be with him and those in training with him without interruption. Those in training with him who would become his, what you may call disciples and followers, but which we called our family of light. Some would go on to become the carriers of the flame of what we shared. And some would splinter off and tell unimaginable tales, skewering the truth and the divine perfection of our coming together and of the events of this life. Such is the case with infiltrators. Although I encourage you to infiltrate the hijacked agenda systems and bring them into the light of source, but that's another letter to write to you at another time. Our family of light was in full knowing of our sacred union and of myself being the prophesized to Yeshua, holy beloved, to elevate his path as a spiritual teacher and even beyond as a teacher, but rather as a spiritual master. For that is what he was and is, and what I am and was. There is no arrogance here, as many may believe. Owning the truth of one's path and what one brings forward is an important detail in crafting a life as a sovereign and aligned divine being. Mastery is the process that you are now in. You could not be hearing these words if it were not so. There are many initiations on this path of spiritual mastery, and it contains many what you might call false summits, believing you are there as if there's one point of arrival. Let me tell you, there is not, only to find out that there's still more to do and further to go. You begin to understand on this path of mastery your eternal nature, an ever evolving, always expanding journey as life itself. So know this, beloved one. Once you reach a point of spiritual mastery, There will be another before you and a whole new unfolding to unfold as you are eternally, ever, always, forevermore alive and living, as I have mentioned in previous transmissions. Now, where was I in sharing our meeting with you? Ah, yes. There had been talk of a Messiah coming prior to the one whom you call Jesus' incarnation. It's true. But neither Yeshua nor myself presumed that he was that. His focus was on fulfilling his destiny while in his human body, on unifying with God and becoming what you might call enlightened. He knew that I was an important piece of this and that our sacred union, our Hieros Gamos, was a fundamental part of his path. He knew that his teachings would be more potent, more powerful, and more well received with his holy beloved, Mary Magdalene, by his side. And in that way, you can say that both of our lives truly began at the time of our coming together. I'll leave it all here for now, but there's still so much more to share with you, and I look forward to it all. Yours in the way, Goddess Mary Magdalene. So beautiful. So just drink that in, take a nice deep breath, just allowing yourself to receive those codes, that wisdom about mastery, about alignment, about sacred union, about who Yeshua and Mary Magdalene were, about the stories that you've been told about who they were, how you've been programmed to believe that the masculine energy is above the feminine, that it is superior in some way. You are being reprogrammed. You are being reprogrammed to remember what is divinely true, which is what Mary Magdalene has shared here. She talks a little bit about infiltrators here. We are well aware that the light has been infiltrated by those pretending to be of the light, and she encourages us as light beings to infiltrate those aspects of the matrix to bring light to it, which is why after 2 years off of Facebook, they sent me back. After 6 months off of Instagram, they sent me back to be an infiltrator of the light. So you are in a process of spiritual mastery. You are on the path of spiritual mastery, and we are so thrilled that we have come together in this way during this holy and beautiful time. If you resonate with what we've shared here with you today in Love Letters from Mary Magdalene, please consider joining us for her Mary Magdalene Feast Day event on July 22nd at 11:11 a.m. Pacific. If you are not in my email swirl, then feel free to direct message me and I can get those details to you. What an incredible time this is, what a sacred and holy time this is, where there is the potential to be dramatically distracted from that which is true and holy. But Yeshua and Mary had plenty of opportunities to be distracted as well from their sacred and holy and divine mission. But they did not allow that to occur. They stayed focused on their destiny. They stayed focused on being surrounded by their family of light. They stayed focused on creating the heaven on earth that they knew that they were capable of creating. And we talk more about that in Love Letters from Mary Magdalene. She gives us the whole outline of what they created in southern France. They really are our mentors at the highest level who are guiding us on this path of living in the way. And this is for those who feel resonance with it. If you feel resonance with this path, it is most likely because it is meant to be part of your path. There is a specific gathering of light beings of which I am a part, and those who walk with me are a part, and those who are called to me and this channel and all the different ways that I share are a part. This is a sacred path. This is the path of bringing the light back to the earth and supporting the transformation of consciousness in and through the body, through our own sacred bodies, and through our own connection to our sacred heart. I am honored to be a spiritual guide in the physical and a mentor to you on the path as we bring through this divine and sacred wisdom. Thank you so much for being here with me. As always, it is an honor to share with you, and I cannot wait to see what we co-create together next. Thank you so much for watching, for listening. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Christian Strang, and this has been Awakening the Podcast.